Welcome to Spiritual Mastery. This is the theme of sensitivity and spirituality. The theme is actually developed because of my own journey with my own sensitivity throughout my life. So I will be talking a little about how I have been growing with my sensitivity and the problems I have had with my sensitivity, but also the gift that I have been given with this sensitivity. So when I was a kid, I actually had a very big problems being surrounded by other people, because at that time I didn't know that I was feeling and sensing other people's emotions and their physical problems or states very clearly, so I thought it was my own. And I also had the problem when people were saying they were feeling okay and I sensed that they were not okay. So I was very confused as a kid, because I was always sensing my surroundings and I couldn't understand what I sensed. I couldn't understand what happened around me, and I couldn't understand what happened inside of me. So when I was a kid, I was withdrawing myself away from human beings. And much more I preferred the contact with animals, because animals have this one-to-one. They have this heart connection with you, or I have with them. So I was sensing the animals very honest and in a very deep felt loving contact. So for me, this contact with the animals actually kept my heart open and kept this simple way of connecting with nature, with animals, with life, with the divine. So the most of my childhood, I preferred being in the nature, being with animals. And I think that this connection actually helped me to grow as the person I am, and also keep an openness towards life and to the divine. But this problem with actually trying to withdraw myself from others was a problem in school, was a problem in contact with my surroundings, because I didn't really feel this connection or belonging, or I didn't feel that I fit in with other people or with the society that I was a part of. Actually, I didn't feel as a part of the society at all. And throughout my childhood and my younger days, I had very this feeling of disconnection, or this feeling of being really sad and alone. And I was also very, what can I call it, dark-minded. I didn't feel very much hope for humankind or for the earth, because I was actually growing up in the time with the Cold War, and there was a lot of problem also at that time with environmental problems and war. And I was really in a very bad place with all that, because I couldn't really feel the love that was around me. I was feeling the love from nature and from animals, but I had really big problems connecting to the love in humans and in the world, in that sense of community. So as I grew up, my spiritual skills started to develop very much as well. And of course, when you are unsecure, I was very insecure, and I was very anxious in a way also. I was very afraid of what will happen, and I was in this place within myself that I wanted to help a lot of people. I wanted to help a lot of animals, and I wanted to help and save the planet. And it was very many big decisions, or very big goals that I wanted to proceed, and it was actually so much too much. So my parents were having many fights, and there was a lot of arguing in my home. So I was trying to create harmony in my family home very much. So I was trying to help my mother, I was trying to help my father, I was trying to help my brother, and I was trying to help all the animals. We had a lot of animals: cats, dogs, horses, chickens. I had very many animals also in my room, small mice, turtles, everything. I just surrounded myself with animals. But that was also a very great responsibility as a youngster. So I had a big emotional responsibility for both animals and people around me, and also a lot of love. But the problem in that was that I didn't feel myself very much. I felt the others, their needs, their feelings, this disconnection there was, and it was very stressful for me. So I didn't have this inner calm place within myself, and I wasn't very good at looking into my own needs and what I needed to be calm, or what I needed to be safe, or I was always in a big alert situation within myself, because there was always someone needing something extra, and I had this deep feeling from this need. I had to, respond to that need. So the problem with being sensitive in many of highly sensitive persons, or just being sensitive, is actually that they have this unconscious need to help, or they notice what is not in place somehow. And because of that, we actually have this problem of getting outside ourselves, disconnecting from ourselves and our grounding or contact to our inner core. And I was very much disconnected. So when I started to have this spiritual awakening, it was also connected to a lot of fear. So when I was 18 years old, I started to have these dreams about I was out on a travel. I was just I have left school. I was in between high school and university at that time, and I was traveling to Iceland because I was riding Icelandic horses, and my big dream was to go to Iceland and ride the horses there. And in that, I was actually having a very intense dream about a sheep I had back home, because I really loved my sheep. And she was dying in that dream. So I had this dream about my sheep dying. And when I came home a week later, the sheep had actually died. So even though the spirituality was a part of my skill, when it, kicked in, it was with different kind of messages that I was afraid of. So I was sad about this sheep that was dying. I was also, later on, I had a dream about a horse that I was going to ride when I arrived back from a long travel. I was traveling around in Asia and Australia, and I had this dream that she was dying, and she died, and I couldn't do anything about it. So can you see, I actually have the skills to be in contact with the spiritual world and use that contact, but this wake-up calls that I got was frightening me very much. So what was the development for me was actually not that I was happy that I had this deeper contact with the spiritual world, or that I had this sensitivity. It was just like overwhelming. The life was very overwhelming for me. Contact with other people was very overwhelming. And because I used so much emotional energy, because I had this responsibility all the time, emotionally, energy. I used a lot of energy taking care of, looking after, noticing what's wrong, what's okay, who's not, who should I be afraid of, who should I help. Everything was going on very intensely all the time. So one of the first really big breakthroughs I had was when I was taking my first Reiki course. Reiki healing is a very simple healing form that helps you to self-heal. So when I started to connect with the healing energy, the first time in my life, at that time I was around 25, 24. When I started to connect with the healing energy, suddenly I felt this calmness within myself. So I was just surrounded by the healing energy. I could place my hands up on myself and I could heal myself every day, as many times a day that I felt the need for. But the most important thing was that I suddenly felt that I had this light within myself, or calmness or clarity within myself. I sensed myself for the first time really good. And I felt this sense of myself, like there was hope for the world, there was love in the world, and I could connect to that love, and I could connect to the soul and light in other people. So I also started to have this faith in other people, because I could sense their soul, their light. Because my nervous system before that was actually seeking for their needs, their sorrows, where they were in conflict, where they didn't feel all right, who I could help. I had very difficulties to sense the very good essence that actually is within ourselves. Everybody has a soul, and that soul is connected with our capacities, our light, our love, our wisdom, our clarity, our deep spiritual powers. As I was working with my healing for myself, but also started to heal others, I sensed how the spiritual world actually was helping, the healing energy was helping people to get more in contact with their inner core of light, or their divine, or their soul. And in that journey, my own soul and my connection with my soul was starting to be more and more deepened, and I was starting to feel this choice between, if I took a choice where I was going away from my soul, from my path, from myself, it was feeling not good. My body would react, or will still react, like tension up and be very, what can I say? The body tenses up, there's a feeling of not being okay, there's a feeling of disconnecting from myself. So when I started to use the healing and the self-healing, I started to reconnect with myself. So the more you reconnect with yourself, the easier it is for you to sense when you're not connected to yourself. So this Reiki and the self-healing helped me very much to come back to myself and expand myself, instead of all my alarm system and my wish to fit in a way that actually, if I fitted in something, I was not fitting with myself. So instead of try to fit in with a lot of rules in the society or with others that actually not was fitting into this soul, where there's a calmness, there is love, there is this gentleness that just wants to, spread out love and healing, and a compassion that really loves to meet other people. It was more like, who can I save, and is I save myself? And it was, instead of alarm, there was something more deep and even more powerful within me that started to grow. A compassion and a love that is deep contact with my soul, and also what I really love to spread out in the world, share with the world. And the healing helped me to that. And after some years, when I started to work even more with the spiritual world and started to trust the spiritual world. I started to develop this contact from Reiki, this feeling of being connected to a ray of light, where I can always, connect myself to that ray of light, and this light will help me to ground. It will just help me to calm down and regulate my own nervous system, so I get back in a own contact with myself. And I really would like you to develop this. It's very simple, and if you wanted to examine this or train this, you can use one of my free healings meditation called Pillar of Light on my website. It's developed from this time of my life where I really just wanted to be in this deeper meditative healing contact, and it will train your sensory system to be in contact with the divine and this peacefulness and the care and the love that the divine has for you. And when you connect to your surroundings, there's a feel of love, that where the love is the one that is actually the main presence and the support, then of course your nervous system will be secured or feel safe. So I was training this feeling of being safe within myself, within my life, in this connection with the Pillar of Light and the healing energy. And from that point on, it was easier every day for me to strengthen my contact with my life. Then I also started, later on, I was very much still in this development in what is my feelings, what is others' feelings, and a lot of awakening within my spirituality. At that time I was in my late 20s, and I started on a school for clairvoyant teaching. So my teacher there, she is sadly dead now. She was called Gertrud Berlund. She was the first Dane that made a school for teaching psychic mediums how to use their skills. And I started at that school, and one of the first things she learned me was how to control my my sensory system. So she trained me to come back with my senses to myself instead of being so much in contact with other people. And if you remember, that was one of my very big problems as a child and a youngster. I couldn't sense myself because as a child you always scan your surroundings. You cannot regulate your own nervous system. You have to regulate yourself from your surroundings because your nervous system is not developed yet to sense yourself. And my nervous system was very much sensing everybody needs, and it was very stressful. And in that I came away from myself. But the training at the school helped me to reconnect even more, to learn how to discipline my sensory system so I could be in contact with myself and the spiritual world without being confused or disturbed by other people's emotions or thoughts or opinions. So I could get even more strengthened in being true to myself and my soul, and also quiet, because when you are in contact with your soul and the spiritual world, there's a lot of noise that disappears from you. You are in a calm being. You change from what I call overall noise, disturbance from your thoughts, from your mind, from your body, and go into a deeper contact with your soul. And when you have focus within yourself and your inner soul or your light, your nervous system will follow your focus. And when you follow your focus into this deeper level of contact with yourself and your divine inner, you will have an even deeper contact with the divine within yourself, within your life, and with the divine as well. That helps you to support you in the growth and development and help you to follow the path in your life. So this training was actually to close, she called it closing your chakras. It's not a closing, it's actually more a return back with your sensory system to sense the core of you instead of disconnecting and sense everybody around you without sensing yourself. So it's actually a training to sense yourself from your core of you, and then sense the others, but you stay in contact with yourself. And you can more easily sense, is it you, is it a living person, when you also are connecting with, working with the spiritual world. So for me it was important to sense, is it a living person, is it a deceased person, is it an angel, is it a guide? So when you have this control of your senses, you can actually very much sense, is this myself, is it another person, is it one from the spiritual world? And that was of course very important for my training in mediumship and of course psychic abilities as well. But it's very much important for me in my life when I walk around as a everyday person in an everyday life, not to have this over-sensing in others and in situations, but being in a deeper contact with myself, so I can stay grounded within myself and in my life. So this meditation that I have developed, that's called control of your sensory system, is actually developed from those early trainings as well, because it's so important that you have this connection with yourself and keep that connection when you walk around in your everyday life, so you always can refer back to yourself. When you do that, you will have a better feeling of your needs and your borders towards your surroundings. So you have a deeper contact with what's good for you, what's not good for you, which direction you have to take in your life. And as a sensitive person, that can be very, very difficult, because you are, sometimes I call it like you are a camel, not a camel, but a chameleon. I'm not quite sure about the English word, but you know, this animal that walks in a tree and changes colors after what this little animal goes through. So it's like it changes colors from the surroundings. Chameleon. So it's a chameleon. And in that, it's very important to understand that a sensitive person that do not have this contact within itself will often change colors from the surrounding, but it will also be the surrounding and lose the contact to yourself. I'm quite sure that a chameleon actually stays the same, but only changes colors on the outside. But a sensitive person has the problem that if we don't know that we actually just mirror our surroundings, we become this mirroring. And if it's not true for who you are, or if it's not healthy for the person that you are, you will get all of the others' bad emotions and tensions and thoughts so much within yourself, entangled with your own beliefs about who you are and how the world is, that it will be difficult for you to find out who you actually are. And in that part, this training to be in contact with the pillar of light and to train your sensory system, it will help you to actually regulate yourself with still the capacity you have to be sensing the surroundings, and let the surroundings help you to be yourself. So the training with the pillar of light, the training with this control of your sensory system will help you to create a better feeling of your deeper core of you. And you will use the capacity you have in your sensory system to connect with the spiritual world that's full of love, support, light, calmness, strength, if it's that you need. And you will mirror that, and it will fit into your soul. So instead of mirroring something that would actually disturb you and get you away from yourself, being that could be overwhelming for you in a negative way, you will actually be calm and you will mirror something that is very good for you, for your sensory system, and will build you up instead of disconnecting you. So this contact with the spiritual world and the spirituality within you can help you actually to ground yourself and to connect with the life in a way that fits you, where your soul actually can start to be expressed throughout your life. And your soul is here, you are born to be a part of the world, to share with the world and to take in from the world, learn, grow. Both you are supported by the world and you support the world. But this balance is very important. So the other thing is, when I started to work even more with this feeling of how can I help myself to stay grounded and centered, how can I surround myself with a presence that helps me to keep myself in balance, then I found out that for me, the contact with my guardian angel was a very big help. So in this pillar of light, I often sensed that there was this contact with my guardian angel that was placed behind me and actually was standing on the ground beneath me. So the guardian angel actually helped my nervous system, helped me to feel it's safe to be in my life. It's safe to be right here within myself. And this feeling of, again, remember that I have a really intense nervous system and also very easily to get in a big alarm in my nervous system. So when I sense the presence of my guardian angel, I get this feeling of being surrounded, taken care of, supported, and also being protected. And as soon as my nervous system starts to recognize this feeling of being supported and protected, I can actually contact myself again. I reconnect with myself, and then I can start to feel the power within me and take better decisions for myself. Or it could be, what should I say yes to, what should I say no to, should I stay here, should I go? That could be a very different variety of possibilities that open within myself, instead of just this fear and then disconnecting or closing down. So the presence of my guardian angel helps me to get into this deeper feeling within myself, reconnecting to my power, and then help me to live my life more in accordance with myself. So depending on what kind of sensitivity and spirituality you have, a contact with the guardian angel could be a very good idea. It could also be a deceased person that you really have trust in. It could be a relative. It could also be a pet. Actually, our animals, those animals that you really feel a deep connection to, many of them, in my opinion, could be spiritual guides that are incarnated in an animal to help and support you through a very difficult time in your life. If you look at some pets, some of them are very healing, very mental, strong, and act much more like human or guides than animals. And often they come into your life where there are a kid that needs that help, or it's a difficult time of your life, and it keeps you in the contact where you can give love and receive love. So it keeps you in an open heart and an open life energy, where you normally, if you didn't have this contact with the animal, could close down and disappear, not disappear in that way, but really close down for your life force. So it could also be an animal that you have loved, that loves you, that you can sense, that would help you to stay in a good contact with yourself. and stand your ground and walk the path that's your path. So depending on what your spirituality, what your skills have of openings in relation to contact with the spiritual world, you will have different spiritual guides that will come and help you. For some it would be angel, for some it would be guides, from some it would be a deceased person or an animal. Some it could be a totem animal. It could be what fits you. So this actually helped me. So for me, a grounding with the spiritual world actually helped me to ground, because it supports a contact with a loving atmosphere where I trust to live my life, where I can be the one I am in the best possible way, and where I have contact with my powers, my skills, and I could follow my intuition even more clear and strong. So in that way, try to find out if this contact with the guardian angel could be a good way. I have again, because I use those healing meditations that I make them from my own experience of how they work on me or with me. So I have recorded this. It's called the Guardian Angel Express Grounding. So you can try to use that and see if you can sense this help to keep a good contact with yourself together with your guardian angel. So it's a possibility. It has helped me very much. Also, if I'm in a shop and a mall, there's a lot of people, some of them are very stressed and people can be fighting, and then I just connect myself to the ray of light, connect with my guardian angel. I'm surrounded, I'm grounded, and it's like I have this zone around me where it's nice for me to be. So even though the surroundings are not nice, the outer surroundings is not nice, I have an outer surrounding with the spiritual world that's okay for me to be in, so I can stay connected with myself instead of disconnecting and be stressful or in alarm. And that's a very helpful thing, because you actually take much better decisions when you are connected with yourself than if you are in alarm and disconnected. So that could be a very good way. So what I have been seeing from the years with students and clients, because I've been working with clients and students for over 20 years, is that this sensitivity within our sensory system can create problems because of that, what I all been talking about, sensing the surroundings and disconnecting with yourself, being disturbed about others' feelings and others' emotions and thoughts, and that level of when you actually sense things very intense, you also have you need more time to process experiences that you have had before they are actually loosened up in your system and you can come back to yourself. So it's also much easier to get traumas if you are sensitive, because you experience things even more intense than other people does. So it's very important for you to give yourself time to recover from overwhelming situations, experiences, or contact with people, relations that can be overwhelming for you. So one of the things that you can do there is actually to accept that you have this sensitivity, and it's very much a gift, because you can also sense many more details around the life than many other people does. So in that way, you have a very rich inner life. You have a possibility to really experience the life with a lot of more intense colors, tastes, smells, feelings than many other people do. So when you start to master your sensitivity in a way where you actually accept that sometimes you just have to have more time, you have to have a little more both time for yourself, but also time to digest your experiences, your emotions, your thoughts. If you start to accept that with yourself and your capacity, you will also start to somehow get the best out of your sensitivity. And one of the other things that I have found really good with this sensitivity is that when you connect with the spirituality, you actually use your senses, you use this feeling, your sensory system that actually connect to others' emotions, because the spiritual world is only emotions and consciousness. It's not physical. So when you use that, what you normally use to connect with others, people's feelings or their emotions, you will actually just, instead of sensing others, you will just use the same sense to connect with the spiritual world. But there will be a lot of healing and support. And it will help you. So if you have an overwhelming situation where you normally should use a lot of time to digest it, reconnect to yourself, it's like a computer processing very slow. It takes a lot of time. But when you connect to the ray of light and ask for healing or support, you will sense that you will get the energy that you need, emotional energy, physical energy, mental energy. And the processing time will be shorter because you have what you not have in your own system to process the problem, it will be given to you. So this, that you receive what you need to process the problems you have, the traumas you had, or actually process the situation before it even comes into a trauma. It will help you to come better through problematic times of your life. So you can use this contact, this sensitivity, also to ask for healing, to be supported by the healing that you need, and the healing will help you in all the parts of you, emotionally, physically, mentally. And it will support and strengthen your contact to your soul and the power you have within your soul. So within that, it could be very good for you to find out what's your energy, what's others. So this, that you are connected with others' negative energy and you get negative. But I have developed a healing meditation I call the bucket exercise, where we actually let go of others' emotions, others' thoughts, others' negative imprint in you, and start to feel yourself stronger. And that's also a very good way to help you to overcome overwhelming experiences. So if a person has been overwhelming you, let go of that person, put them in a bucket, up in the light, feel yourself, get the healing you need to reconnect with yourself. So the bucket exercise is actually helping you to accept how much you connect with other people's state of mind, emotions, and physical forms, and how easily you are affected by them. And when you start to make this bucket exercise, you will feel, okay, this is me, this is others. So it's also a training, but it's also a learning for you to actually notice how much you are affected. And the healing energy will help you to stay more centered within yourself, within your core. So that exercise is also very good. Another exercise that is very good for training your sensitivity in contact with your spiritual abilities is one, and I developed, it's not so many years ago, maybe it's around 10 years ago. At that time, I was moving out from the city, out on the countryside. Actually, I'm born on a countryside, and I have been living much of my childhood and my younger years on the country. But then, every youngster, when I went to the university, I had to go into the city, and then I stayed there for the most of my grown-up life. But I had a time where I was moving out again, and I was sitting looking at a very nice park full of birds, animals. It was very beautiful, and I was so frustrated because I was tired all the time. I didn't know why I was tired and why I was feeling so without energy and inspiration within myself. And then I was connecting as when I started to use my skills, actually when I was in the late 20s, and that education with where I was training my skills as a medium and a psychic person. My teacher said, it's very important for you to meditate every day in contact with the spiritual world. So of course I did that. And that's what I have been doing for from there off. I have been doing that nearly every day since that time. So one of these times I was sitting there looking at the park, looking at the animals, but I wasn't feeling connected to it. I was very much frustrated, and suddenly I came into this contact. I was connecting with the ray of light, asking for healing to the day as I normally do. And then suddenly it was so clear for me that even though I had made this control of my sensory system and everything, I knew all that, I went into a deeper level of understanding that every person that I had as client or students, when my heart was open to them, I was also too much connected within their life and how they were feeling. It was like there was a channel with me and all my students and my clients, and that's really, really many persons. So suddenly I understood, okay, it was really important for me to have my own space even more, just a bigger space than I was used to. And then I was in this healing where I let go of everything, everyone in the healing meditation, and I was really feeling the core of myself. And then there was this clear energy border between me and all other living persons in the world. And then I was training, okay, who should come closer to me? Who should be outside this energy border? Who should be inside, and who should be even closer? So I started to train how close I should have people within my system and still have the contact with myself. So I trained, okay, can I be myself if this person is closer to me? Can I not be myself? This meditation I have called Your Own Space, and it's very good to train to find out, okay, what happens with me physically, emotionally, mentally when this person enters my space. And in that you can actually both ask for healing for your own pattern that's started to react when a person enters your space. If it's actually this person reminds you of some problems you have had with your father, you can ask for healing for your relation to your father, and you will find out that this person that's not your father will not even trick you anymore. It will not be a problem, because this person actually just, push on your father button or your mother button. And if you have solved all that you have with your father and mother, and somehow they will not push that buttons. They will not get you out of contact with yourself or your center. So by training your own space, you will actually also accept that you are much bigger than your physical body. Your soul is radiating out from you, and you have an enormous energy field. And you can actually also decide, when you control your sensory system, if you're connecting with a person on a too deep level, it's not good. You can withdraw your sensory system back to yourself and find the level where you can stay in contact with that person and still be yourself. So your own space healing meditation is also a very good one to train your sensitivity and start to connect with yourself surrounded by others, and still be true to yourself. So this is some of the meditations that I have been developed because of my own journey. If you think you might be a highly sensitive person, it could be a very good idea for you to look into Elon Aron's work about highly sensitive persons. She has a self-test on her website, and you can take this self-test and you will find out if you are highly sensitive or just normal sensitive or not sensitive at all. But there will be help for you there to find out if this sensitivity is actually some of the problems that you have in your life. So try. It could be anxiety, it could be this feeling of being in alert in your nervous system, or being overwhelmed by situation or other people. It could also be, I have seen that PTSD persons also could have help with this training with the ray of light and keeping their own space. Other people that have other kind of diagnoses which are connected to highly sensitive sensory system or alert in the nervous system could also have help to be more calm and be more present and grounded within themselves with some of these exercises. So use what you feel fits you, try it. If it helps you, use it. If it's not helping you, don't use it. But for me and for many of my students and clients, it has been very helpful to use this connection, use the sensitivity in connection with the spiritual world, use the connection to the spiritual world to keep more caught and centered within yourself, grounded in your life, listening to your intuition, living your life the best that you can, and always have the support. Within the second that you notice that you need the help, ask for it, connect yourself, and the help will be there. They are not closed ever. They will be there every time you need it. You just have to come into this calm place within yourself, connect you to the ray of light, ask for the help, receive the help, empower yourself, and then go on with your life from a better place within yourself. So many of those meditations that I have mentioned right here in this masterclass is in my free meditations on my website. And thank you for attending this masterclass. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you again for next month's theme. So take care and thank you for attending. Thank you very much.